Well, hey there, guys. I'm Axel the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, the ZeldaDungeon.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. Our first question comes from Skitchin. Now that we know what your favorite overworlds are, I'm interested in knowing what your least favorite overworld in the Zelda series is. Well, actually, my answer is the Wind Waker, which is also, or the Wind Waker's overworld, and the Wind Waker is also my least favorite game in the series, for some of you might know, and I really don't have anything that new to add here. It's really just the standard age-old argument that I think that the sea was kind of boring, and I just think that it was a dull moment of the game in which you were kind of just waiting. That's all I've got to say on it. Be sure to tell me your least favorite, overworld in the comments, though. Keaton Princess asks, will you be attending a Zelda Symphony concert in LA, or wait until it comes closer to you? I don't live on Koholint Island, so it's not exactly viable for me to attend any events in Link's Awakening. I'm kidding. No, I definitely won't be going to LA, but I will, well, I'll try to catch it if it's something comes close enough and it's a viable situation, but I'm sort of doubting that I will be able to attend one of the concerts. But, you know, keeping my hopes up. Be sure to tell me if you guys are going to be attending the LA concert or any of the future concerts in the comments, because it's definitely a big event. Desert Dweller SW asks, is Link ever going to be left-handed again? I'm not sure, and ultimately I'm not sure it really matters either. I mean, yeah, the left-handed thing is kind of a character trait of Link, but at the same time, it's not like it's this big thing that defines him. Or can you honestly say that any person is actually defined by which hand they use, which hand they're more dexterous with? Either way, I think that, you know, I don't know what they're going to do with that in the future. I mean, I don't put much thought into it, because, again, I don't think it's a major point. But it's an odd little issue. I don't know. It depends on, I guess, partially if we're going to see more of these motion control games, but also if they intend to, make that a selectable option for the motion control games. And I think these factors together, as well as, you know, how much the fans really do care about it, will probably determine, you know, what kind of decision they'll make going somewhere down the line. It's kind of a big what if, and it really depends on what the series holds, really. DekuLink63 asks, I wanted to ask about them from Majora's Mask because I just found them so interesting and I wanted to hear your opinion on them. Do you think we'll ever see them again? As for my opinion, I love that moment of the game, and that's actually like my favorite side quest pretty much in Majora's Mask. I used to just go and play that section of the game over and over again just because I enjoyed it. And I just love the atmosphere. I love how they presented those characters. As for what I think or what significance they hold, I don't think they hold any significance. I think there was a totally silly reference, totally inconsequential little side quest. I mean, there's the whole red star thing, and I do kind of buy that theory that the red star that you see on all the nights, or all on the first day and first night until they appear, is them. Other than that, I don't think they're that important, and I certainly don't think we're going to see them again, because they were just a silly little Flatwoods alien monster reference put into Majora's Mask. I'm sure we may see alien references in other Zelda games, but I don't really think we're going to see specific references to them specifically unless they, well, you know, they might throw that Easter egg in if they're going to do alien references anyway. It's hard to say. Ocarina of Time Master asks, what do you think the bosses will be like in Skyward Sword, and do you think there will be another Gohma? Well, just right off the bat, I'll say that I actually think that the Scorpion boss we saw in, the first unveiling of Skyward Sword, I think that is Gohma, so there's my thoughts on that. As for what the bosses will be like, that's kind of an odd, that's kind of like a weird point on the discussion about Skyward Sword, actually, because at least one Nintendo rep suggested that the bosses are actually going to be huge, implying that it's going to be like, well, Twilight Princess, in which every boss is humongous, titanic. I guess the Wind Waker was like that too a bit, though. The bottom line is, but everything we've seen has totally contradicted that. Ghirahim is the first boss of the game, and he's Link's size. And then you have the Scorpion, which, you know, it's large, but it's not, like, titanic. It's arguably not actually that humongous. And the same goes for the big golden statue. So I don't know, maybe those are mini-bosses? I doubt that, but maybe, or maybe the guy was just full of, you know, he had no idea what he was talking about, or maybe he simply didn't mean as big as Twilight Princess, and he wasn't really referring to the Zelda series as it exists when he said that. So, I can't really say for sure. Dragoon Reviews asks, if you think Lord Ghirahim is part of a group, do you think that the members of the group will be the bosses of the dungeons, or will we still get strange creatures? Well, they've said that he will be part of a group, though I guess that's not 100% certain, but that's where I'm leaning anyway. As for him being the bosses, that is an interesting thought, and I've considered it myself. However, I don't think we're going to get that in the absence of, as you put it, strange creatures. I think we're always going to have crazy monsters as the dungeon bosses. Now, whether or not we may still see the other members of the tribe as some of the bosses, as mini-bosses, as, like, secondary bosses, or field bosses, I can use the word bosses a few more times in this sentence, or they'll turn into the creatures. I can't really say. I would like to see a lot of them. I'd like to fight them. But I wouldn't want it at the expense of creatures, and I don't think we're going to get them as a replacement to creatures. Because, as should go without saying, Axel the Beast loves his creatures. Zelda Forever asks, in Skyward Sword we see Link with the lyre. What do you think the difficulty of playing it will be? I don't think it's going to be too bad. I mean, the Spirit Flute in Spirit Tracks was infamously difficult, but I don't think it's going to be anything like that, because, I mean, they've said it's going to be rhythm-based, which probably means you're going to, like, swing the Wii remote to, like, the side or whatever in tune with the rhythm, which, well, that's what I'm thinking of with, anyway. And, that would make it more like, it's simple. It'd be more like the Goron or Sabrosian dancing minigames in the Oracle series, which I had a lot of trouble with. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. I really don't think it's going to be anything quite like that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be kind of simple, kind of easy. I'm not that worried about it. Skyward Sword will rule! Asks, if Fi never appears in any other Zelda game, isn't it possible that she may have to sacrifice herself when you forge the Master Sword? Yeah, probably, actually. There's going to be some explanation as to why she's never in the other games, although pretty much the ultimate reason for that is because they made this game after the other games, but they'll explain it in-game somehow, and I actually have a crazy little theory on that. I bet since, like, Fi talks as if she's a robot in the trailers we've seen, or the gameplay clips we've seen, so I suspect that, like, Fi's gonna be like a robot and not very human, and then somehow she's gonna, like, fall in love with Link and learn how to be human or something, like that cliche idea in the story, and then she's going to have to sacrifice herself at the end of the game to become the Master Sword. Or at least that's a crazy idea I've come up with. I would bet on seeing something kind of vaguely similar, but I won't, like, commit to predicting that or anything. GS23 asks, since Skyward Sword has an increased emphasis on the shield along with having a shield durability meter, do you think like-likes will return as enemies? Duh! Prince of Peppermint asks, in the recent trailer of Skyward Sword, I've noticed that during the small clip when Ghirahim and Link are fighting in a dark land, that the background closely resembles to some of the areas of Skyloft. Could Ghirahim have invaded Skyloft and a fight will take place between Link and Ghirahim there? Possibly the final battle? Yeah, actually, some people have pointed this out, and I definitely think that it seems like Ghirahim is going to attack Skyloft, or at the very least a very similar place, but probably Skyloft. However, about it being the final battle, yeah, hell no. Because there's no way they show the final battle in the freaking, like, trailer of the game. I don't think they're stupid enough to do that. And that's part of the reason why I don't think Ghirahim is going to be the main villain at all, either, because I don't think they'd have shown him either. I mean, they've done that in the past, but I don't think they'd do that in this case. Not with this game, with, learning from some of their mistakes. Zelda Hero 11 asks, how many dungeons do you expect there to be in Skyward Sword? I'm not entirely sure, because they've stated that they don't want this game to be, like, crazy long, but very dense, kind of like they've likened it to that, or explained it like that, which reminds me of Majora's Mask, and they've expressed how there's going to be similarities to Majora's Mask, so that game only had 4 dungeons, and I don't exactly expect it to be that low. I'm sort of thinking with, like, something a little closer to the Minish Cap, where there's, like, about 5 or 6 dungeons, or something like that. That's kind of, or like Spirit Tracks 2, that's kind of the number I'm thinking with, but it could be higher since they're trying to one-up Ocarina of Time, so I really don't know. I don't think it's going to be crazy high, but I don't think it's going to be insanely low either. Skuggler asks, with every new Zelda game that comes out, we seem to have a higher and higher expectation of what a Zelda game should be. At what point do our expectations become too high? I don't necessarily think our expectations have really risen that much over the years, except maybe our like, desire for a good game that meets those expectations because of the recent disappointments, perhaps. But I think the expectations have been about the same since Ocarina of Time, or maybe for me, Majora's Mask. Bottom line is if you're making something and you're, like, putting work into an art or any project that you're doing repeatedly, you want to outdo yourself the next time you make something, or else you're kind of not advancing as an artist or as a creator, and you're not you're not outdoing yourself. It's not as satisfying. So I think at all times, anyone who makes a series of anything is going to be trying to outdo themselves and should be trying to. With that in mind, I think that the Zelda series should always be trying to do better than it's done before, just as kind of anything or anyone should. It's never always going to make that mark, and I think that the idea of trying to, like, walk in the footsteps of previous games is kind of where you go wrong pretty easily, because you try to mimic old ideas and instead of making something new that's good on its own merits. So, yeah, I don't think it's bad that they essentially try to outdo the last game. I think it's kind of a natural process to anything. Alright guys, that's it for this time. Be sure to send your questions to the email address or contact page in the description, and I'll see you guys later. Desert Dwellers SW asks, Desert Dwellers SW, I'm an idiot. Zelda Forever asks, in Skyward Sword we see Link, we should make it more like the Goron dancing minigame, which I had a lot of trouble with in A Link to the Past. I mean, not A Link to the Past, but I can't believe I botched that question.